Todd, your first period in Scottish football, how have you enjoyed the experience, and how different is the top level in Scotland from what you've been playing in England?
Yeah, no, I've really enjoyed myself so far. Obviously been involved in 3 games and we've won 3, so I'd say yeah, it's been a pretty good start. Some good building blocks as well for me personally in terms of fitness and stuff, so yeah, no, I'm enjoying myself.
In terms of the manager in your first game gave you a very free role. Have your colleagues around you, have you had much of a discussion about who goes where, or do you leave that to the boss?
Yeah, I think with certain things like that, I think, footballers play with footballers, if that makes sense. We understand each other's movements, and that's something that's only going to get better with time. The manager's obviously got a style that he wants to play and implement, and there's players around that will understand their roles within that. So yeah, I think it will only get better.
You feel from your perspective, just every single game, the understanding you have with your teammates, you feel you'll just get better and better, and the team will as well as the season goes on?
100%. I'll start to make movements that other players want me to make as well. It's not all about me, and obviously I'll feed off the energy from the other boys and where they want it and what their qualities are. So I think in terms of a start, I think I'm pretty happy with how it started. And yeah, I'm just looking to kick on now and, like I say, build on these relationships that I've started on.
I think people maybe come into Scottish football with certain preconceptions about what it's like. Have you noticed anything? Is there anything that's maybe surprised you in your short time up here so far?
I don't know if it surprised me too much, because I was told about it, but I'd say obviously the teams come into Ibrox, I think you can stop the game at multiple points the other day, even against Ross County, where there's 11 players pretty much on the edge of their box, which makes it difficult, but that's the challenge we have to accept. And it's at a club like Rangers, we need to accept that, and we need to find a way to win the games, which we have done.
There's a very good chance that the game this weekend could be exactly the same. As a creative player, is that the type of thing you'll relish and go into and see as a challenge?
I think, to be honest, it has its pros and its cons, because you can argue when a team doesn't sit off, like the Hearts game, they probably regretted not sitting off. And then obviously we look at the Ross County game, which was difficult at times because they sat off. It can be difficult. I think as a creative player, you've got to find a way to adapt within the game, and ultimately it's your responsibility to try and unlock a door. So
it's Scottish Cup this weekend. What would success in that tournament mean to you, really? Yeah,
massive. I think every competition we're involved in is equally as important. Certainly the message I've received, this is obviously going to be a tough game at the weekend. It's the same whatever league you play in. A team that is in a lower division that comes up to have a game, it's a game of their lives almost. They'll give absolutely everything for it, so we've got to be ready for that. And listen, we've got full focus on the game at the weekend.
The team are defending champions in the Scottish Cup. Has there been much talk in the dressing room about a drive and real determination to hold on to the trophy?
I think that's the one thing that I really haven't questioned since I've been here, is the drive. I think it's really quite apparent just being in and around the changing room. Even in training, to be honest, the winning mentality is there, which is brilliant, because then you don't have to talk and try and get it out of each other. It's already there. I think obviously from some of the senior boys that are here, it's almost embedded in them. So I think they're just spreading that around, and I think it's actually becoming a bit of a lesson for everyone, really, that this is how it is here.
Have you had much reaction from, say, back down in England about the move so far and how you've found your few games you've been involved in?
I've spoke to the people I care about. In terms of people that are going to have opinions on what I'm doing here and bits and pieces like that, it's kind of irrelevant. The challenge is what it is in front of me, and that's all I'm looking forward to now.
I was meaning in a way that are other players getting in touch, and in terms of how big it is, and has it been in? You were talking about Scottish football potentially surprising people. Is that something that people are saying? Is it bigger than you expected?
I don't know if it's big enough. I think it's what I expected, to be honest. I think you guys are all aware. I didn't come the day after the manager spoke to me. We had a period where we worked things out and we spoke about things, and there was great detail behind what we spoke about. I feel like I had a pretty good understanding of what it was I was signing up to when I decided to sign on the line. So it's definitely good. It's definitely good for me, I believe, and I think I'm definitely glad I've come.
Did you talk to Kenny McLean and Grant Hanley much about coming up here, given their allegiance to Rangers?
Yeah, no, I did. They were particularly excited when they heard about the possibility of me coming here. it was either they wanted me out of the changing room or they were happy to have me here. I don't know which one it was, but yeah, no, all jokes aside, you know, they're great guys, and I think I realised how big Rangers were I realised how much they loved Rangers when I was linked to come here.
Did they give you any warnings, any advice?
The advice would just be from both of them, really, was just go and be you. They'll fall in love with you, they'll love you if you give 100% and you play the way that you play when you're at your happiest, and you know that's pretty much the message from everyone that I've spoken to.
Nico's obviously settling in as well. Are you feeding off each other in training and what have you?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm kind of like a week ahead of him, so I'm kind of watching him, you know, sort of wander around like I did probably. So yeah, I've took him under a little bit, but honestly, the lads here are fantastic. It's been really easy to settle in, and I'm sure he'd say the same.
Being a creative player, Todd, being a creative player, it's obviously really important that you have a relationship with those in front of you to help you reach your full potential as well. How are you finding playing with Ryan Kent, first of all, and secondly, Alfredo Morelos?
Yeah, again, you know, like I touched on earlier, it's become quite easy. I think, you know, players of this calibre in this team, you know, understand other footballers, and I think, you know, listen, it's not going to be something that clicks in the next week or so. It's going to take a little bit of time, as I'm sure it does for any players really. But I think in terms of genuine understanding, I think it's really getting to a good place, and I think it's a sort of relationship that will only improve.
Todd, you mentioned a lot of previous press conferences about the frustrations at Norwich. How much has the joy returning to your game been important for you over the last 3 games or so?
Yeah, I think it's been massive. I've really enjoyed myself since I've come here. I've enjoyed everything really. I've enjoyed the whole sort of experience of just being in and around the training ground, and you know, having a manager with fresh ideas, and you know, it sort of almost enjoying the journey of, you know, integrating with the teammates and stuff like that. It's been a real good sort of freshen up that I definitely needed.
And you mentioned John was there, so I think there was a couple of your family members for your first game said they'd driven up from Norwich, and you posted a photo on Twitter of the kind of time in the morning. Or were you anyone coming up for the cup tie this weekend?
No, unfortunately it is quite a long way from Norwich, so yeah, I don't think they'll be doing it every week. But no, to be fair, my brother and my dad and my 2 best mates came up for the game last weekend, and you know, it was really nice for them to see it again. You know, it took them by surprise. I think a little bit how big the club is and how big the stadium is and the history. I think it's not something that you can really be told about. I think it's something you have to feel. And yeah, no, they didn't really want to leave, to be fair.